The data-driven decision-making framework is perhaps the most powerful business hack I've ever come across in my entire career. In this special episode from a recent presentation of mine, I'll walk you through what my data decision-making framework is and how you can use it to grow your company.
All right, my favorite part, how to then take all of this information, then come up with data-driven decisions. Now, who here is familiar with the terminology of data-driven decision-making? Yeah? Okay. Let's break it down for those of you that are not. This is a decision-making framework, and here's a tip. This doesn't only just apply to your website and marketing. You could go as far as saying this applies to your entire life. Business, definitely. This changed my life when I processed my decisions in company-based decisions through this. All right, step one. What's the problem? Step two, what's the data? What's the information? What does it mean? Step three, well, this is what does it mean? How can I use the data then develop insights on what's actually happening and what's caused this problem? Step four, how can I then come up, I hate using the word hypotheses because I can't say S's properly, but that's the right way to say it. How can I then take these insights and turn them into test case hypotheses to then test my insight to see if it's true or if it's not? Step five, now that I've tested my insights, what is the results? What is the outcome? Have I solved the problem, or does the problem still exist, or has the problem changed? This is a cyclical process that really, once you've built and launched your initial website, every decision and change that is made to it should be processed through this decision-making framework, or something that I would recommend you consider at the very least. Very, very important. This is the one thing I want to photograph would be this slide. All right, who remembers our opportunity analysis that we did at the start here? So I'm going to use that decision-making framework I just showed you to then apply it to this. All right, here's an example. Problem. I'm falling short of my revenue goal. Who's been there before? I have. Number two, I'm missing my lead goal KPI by 50%. That's the analysis. I have the problem. I'm looking at the data. This is what the data is telling me. Insight, I'm missing out on 75% of the search impression share due to a lack of advertising budget. This is a big thing that a lot of people get wrong, is analysis is not an answer. Analysis is a definition of the situation at hand. An insight is then giving you the answer as to why. That's the what, that's the why. Four, test. I'm going to increase my advertising budget by 50% over the course of 30 days to see if the result is, as I've achieved in improving my impression share due to an increase of my advertising budget, I've now achieved my lead KPIs, which has then led to the revenue goal being achieved. I'm taking the assumption that the cost per acquisition hasn't changed as a result. Usually it will, but that's an assumption, okay? You have to process your results against all of those objectives that you set up in the opportunity analysis and the KPIs, roadmap. See the importance of that now in this real life situation? Here's another one. Problem. My average value per customer is too low. Analysis. My average value per customer is 20% less than what my goal KPI is. Insights. Leads generated that from a certain keyword group have small budgets compared to other keywords or leads generated from other keyword groups. Let's test something. I'm going to remove the budget from my low-performing keyword groups that are resulting in low-budget leads. I'm going to set a bid adjustment or redistribute that advertising budget into the keyword groups that are resulting in high budget or high value leads. Result, increasing the ad budget to the highest lead quality group while removing the poor performing results made my initial problem of my goal KPI, my customer KPI being too low has now been resolved. Again, I'm making a heap of assumptions here, but I just want to try and give you some examples to see how this can all be applied together all at once. Here's another one. Problem. My website conversion rate is too low. Analysis, my overall conversion rate is less than half of my goal KPI. Insight, all pages in my website convert poorly, aside from one particular service page. Test, I'm now going to create landing pages based on the highest performing service page. I'm going to A/B test these new pages against my current conversion source pages, my current pages that resulting in the low conversion. The A/B test concludes that the new landing page exceeded the goal KPI conversion rate. Therefore, I'm now going to replace all my key conversion pages in my website with the winning test example that I have then split tested, and I have the results. And the good news is when you start split testing, if you've already done all this KPI road mapping, it's a piece of cake. Your goals and KPIs are already there. If you're using something like Google Optimize, it's about 4 clicks to set up something like this. And you drop the tag in the tag manager and you're up and running in like a minute. It's so easy. All right. I've just gone from 3 to 2. I obviously can't count. This is the last one. My cost per acquisition is too high. I'm exceeding my average cost per click budget by 100%. Insight, 20% of my ads are significantly blowing out my cost per click costs for disproportionate returns. What I'm going to now test is redistributing that advertising budget from my lowest performing 20% of ads to the remaining 80% of ads. The result is the cost per acquisition is brought back in line with the goal KPI and as a result of the ad budget distribution. This one can be sliced and diced in about 100 or so ways. Again, this is just one example. So actually, before I get to that, probably the most important takeaway is that if you don't have the information that you can actually quite easily ascertain, it makes it very difficult to come up with actual solutions that are going to solve the problems that you're facing in your business, not just your website. You can circumvent that by ensuring you have got the data and information available, the tools that are set up correctly to give you that data and information, and you're processing it through a test-based or a data-driven decision-making framework like the one that I showed you that allows you to resolve these solutions a lot faster and a lot easier and a lot quicker than if you were simply making a seat-by-pants decision. There are some cases where the only decision is you have to go by your gut and the seat by your pants. I do that every day. But if we're talking about major decisions, like I'm looking at changing all of my website through a test, because it's not performing, you probably want to spend just a little bit of time to gather some information to make sure your actual hypothesis is correct before you go through that massive time, money, and potential pain investment that you're going to need to do to see if these results are achieved. In some cases, these results are not achieved. It's a negative. The result is you've made it worse. This is the reality of marketing. This is why, you can never sell a course in marketing because it's used on one case. It doesn't apply to everyone else. But anyway, the reality is that this is like a utopia that I've shown you. Results in some cases, in more cases, often than not, are negative or no change, which means you have to repeat this scenario again until you're able to resolve the original problem.
So there you have it. That was an introduction to data-driven decision-making and how you can use data-driven decision-making to make better decisions to grow your company. As always, if you enjoyed this episode, please let me know in the comments below on what you think about data-driven decision-making and if you have any questions about this video. If you need help with your web analytics and growing your company, please check out my digital agency, Web3. I'm James Banks from Web3, and I'll see you in the next episode.